these are some of the key questions. So how can really, really unimaginably terrible things happen in societies, even in democracies, where there's a free election? So the election of the Nazi Party in Germany was basically a pretty fair election. The Nazis did receive more votes than other parties. So how can really terrible things happen, not just the result of evil people, but how do lots of people sort of allow that to happen or even help that happen? Is that a result of just compliant behavior? Another big question is, why might normal people, seemingly people just like you and I, be compliant in really, really horrific things? And obviously the question is asking to what extent we are. Just by using this laptop, to what extent am I compliant in human rights abuses that would almost inevitably have been performed in order to extract materials that go into this computer? And then, yeah, is it possible for us to not be compliant, or are we always inevitably going to be compliant with lots and lots of things in our lives? Okay, so this is Hannah Arendt. She was a philosopher in Germany. She had to leave Germany because she's Jewish. She had to flee to France originally, and then when it became clear that France was also not safe from the Nazis, she emigrated to America. So she knows a little bit about terrible things, essentially. And she wrote during the war and then published in 1951 The Origins of Totalitarianism, where she basically wanted to just answer the question, how can a totalitarian regime come about? How has this terrible thing happened? And more broadly, in later work, she coined the term the banality of evil, which banality, i.e. the sort of dullness of evil. So she was sort of saying that we tend to imagine evil people as these terrible monsters. And one of her big points is that, no, actually, really evil things, in fact, some of the most evil things can happen just as a result of things like bureaucracy, of things like rules. People actually talk about this a bit today with the Israel-Gaza situation, how something like a technical law on the depth that a well can be drilled in the West Bank seems banal, a bit boring, but actually that can be a matter of life and death and contribute to human rights abuses, for instance. We're going to look at Eichmann in Jerusalem, which analyzes the trial of a ranking Nazi official who was essentially responsible for orchestrating or helping to orchestrate the Holocaust. He was caught and he was brought to trial, to face trial and hear the evidence against him in Jerusalem. And Hannah Arendt went and watched the trial, and there's a film about that process, which is quite good, and you could watch it as research for this question if you want.